All right, we're right on 9 a.m. Pacific. REMAX rules, we start on time. I'd like to welcome everybody to this that is the fourth session of our 60 Minutes with REMAX series. For those of you, whether it's your first time tuning in or if you've tuned into every session, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I know that we have viewers both on Zoom as well as on Facebook Live, where we're streaming that as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. Really excited about today's session. As I mentioned just before the call here, there is a couple of functions that you have. So there's a chat button that you can talk to all panelists and attendees. And there's also a little question section. For our top producer panel today, I've got a few questions, but feel free to type your questions as well. And I'll do my best to keep an eye on those and get to them as we go. And with that said, I'd also like to say thank you to TD Canada Trust, who has sponsored not only this 60 Minutes with REMAX series, but also all of our virtual speaker series as well. So with that, I'll ask our panelists if you can turn on your video and we will get going here. There we go. Justin, good to see you. Michelle, good to see you. And so first off, I want to introduce both of our panelists. So we have Michelle Cummins from REMAX Little Oak in Mission, BC. Michelle, welcome to the top producer panel.
Thank you, Wade. Hello, everyone. Good morning.
And also we have Justin Havre, who is team leader of Justin Havre and Associates with REMAX First in Calgary, Alberta. Justin, welcome to the panel.
Thank you for having me here, Wade.
Really excited to have you both. So the first question, I think a lot of the people tuning in are going to know both of you very well, but a little bit of an introduction of yourselves, how you got into the real estate business, and then I'm going to throw a little curveball. I want you to also name one thing that not many people know about you. So Michelle, that question goes to you first.
Okay, hello everyone. Michelle Cummins. I've been licensed for 18 years and I got in the real estate business. It was because my husband's a musician, I'm an actress, and we were starving artists, and nothing I did seemed to work or keep the roof over my head. And I was like, what am I going to do? I need something established. I need a career. So I was praying and praying, please, like, what should I do? I had no clue and no idea. And then all of a sudden a realtor came in to rent a car where I was working at Thrifty Car and Truck Rental. And the first question anybody asks a realtor is, how's the market doing? And he said, it's so amazing. He had been in the business like forever. And he goes, I'm so busy, I think I need an assistant. And I go, really? Real estate. Yeah, I never thought of that before. And so he goes, hey, why don't you come next Tuesday on your day off? I was like doing some simple data entry into the computer, and he thought I was a whiz at the computer. And really, I didn't know much. But anyways, I went over to his office, and after an hour of touring it and meeting his broker manager, I was like, oh my gosh, this could be my answer. It was like a door that opened for me, and I walked through it, and the stars aligned, as they say. And so I shadowed him for a year. I was like, if I do this, it's because I want to be a realtor. And he's all, no problem. I just need a computer. He didn't have a computer. He goes, I just need a computer, and I need somebody to deliver flyers and help me with open houses and, deliver calendars. And so I go, okay. So shadowing and just another realtor for my first year meant it helped me and established me and how I do my business so much. So anyways, that's how I got into it, and I never looked back. Something that you don't know about me. Oh, well, I'm half Armenian, and my maiden name's Hartunian, so my family is a lot like the Kardashians, but we're only the Hartunians. It's a family of 8. So awesome. We call ourselves 8 is enough.
I love it. Fantastic job. Justin, same thing, a little bit of an introduction, how you got into real estate, and one interesting fact.
Yeah, hi, Justin Havre with Justin Havre Associates here at REMAX First in Calgary. And I've been licensed now for 15 years. I got licensed in February 2005. It's amazing how fast time flies. And you also get to reflect on when you started this exciting career. And that was, 15 plus years ago. Before that, I was, climbing up on snow-covered roofs, installing satellite dishes, both for TV and for internet, bi-directional internet satellite, which I don't miss at all, because risking your life essentially climbing up on those snow-covered roofs, your knees are shaking. Not necessarily fun and cold. And somebody asked me if I wanted to take the real estate course, and my fiance at the time, I ran that by her, and she thought that was maybe a good idea. I never thought about getting into sales at all, ever. And jumped in, got my license, was so fortunate to have my friend who was my real estate agent at the time take me under his wings and mentored me. And next thing you know, it took off. I mean, my very first client was one of my best friends. And, first year ended up being rookie of the year in the company we were at, and it seemed like I was onto something. No more installing satellite dishes on snow-covered roofs.
Awesome. And one interesting fact that not many people know?
You know what? So I moved to Canada from Norway when I was 13 years old in 1988. Just shared my age. But before that, in Norway, I actually used to ski jump.
Ooh.
As as a young child, and it was kind of interesting when we moved here to Calgary. They have obviously the Olympics that were here, and I watched the Olympics from Norway, knowing that I was going to move to Calgary.
Very interesting. Love it. Well, I want to jump right into talking about what both of you do best, which is real estate. And I want to talk about this year specifically, because it has been an unpredictable year, to say the least. But I want you to talk a little bit about, since March, how things have gone for you, how you've been doing, how you've maintained to stay productive during that time. Justin, we'll start with you on that question.
Yeah, you know what? We all got this unexpected pause across the entire globe, right? And something that none of us have ever been through. So what we ended up doing is just doubling down on our action steps, focusing on reaching out to the agents on the team, ensuring that we could support them, and encouraging them to reach out to all of our clients, everybody in our database. And we dropped all sales language. That was the furthest thing from our objective, was to sell anything. It was simply just to check in with everyone to see how they were doing, how their family were doing, and if there was anything that we could do to support them in the current space and time that we were in. And a lot of amazing things happened from that, because, people's sales guard were considerably down during that time, and people were just so happy to speak to someone. And naturally, some of those conversations led into real estate, and it also turned into quite a few transactions.
Awesome. And Michelle, how about you during this whole time, since really mid-March when it kind of hit Canada? How have you been doing over this time, and how have you been staying productive?
Well, I gotta say, BC's been really amazing for just how we kind of kept everything at bay and kept positive. March was so crazy busy, and we really didn't start feeling the effects of it until the last week of March. But, just staying encouraged, encouraging others that this is, there's a lot of uncertainty. So they wanted certainty. They wanted somebody that they looked up to, a professional, to guide them and just support them and let them know that this isn't going to last forever. This is just for a time. Really, just like Justin said, no sales talk, just connecting, asking, how can I help you? Being informative with information, like trying to get it out there. So I did personal emails to all my clients, giving them an update on the market and what's happening behind the scenes, and just giving them that confidence, because communication is everything. I mean, just communicating with them and keeping that up. I really just, when calls came in and people still wanted to list and they would be questioning it, or buyers wanting to buy, I'd say, absolutely, this is very essential. It's very important that we continue buying and selling when we need to in our lives. And it can be done with all the safety precautions that we have in place. So just giving them the confidence that, no, we can do this safely and healthy. And so I did a lot of, I started live open houses. I would put kind of a splash over the front or first picture of all my listings, saying that I can do Facebook Lives for you, and try to actually get the marketing materials out there really a lot, just as much as possible for the buyer to understand each one of my listings. So like floor plans and 3D Matterports and video walkthroughs, and then me walking through explaining everything, and just trying to get all the material out there and make sure they're approved. So the last thing they do is actually view the property. And all of that really helped. Sales in our area in the Fraser Valley went down 50% it was in April, and then it went up 17% last month, and then this month is crazy busy. It's our spring market. It's been wonderful. So just keeping positive, really.
Awesome. And I think a lot of agents now, especially over the last few weeks, the ones who weren't maybe getting up and going have really gotten into gear. But we have still heard of examples. And I want to preface that with everyone's in a unique situation, and some people are going through really hard situations right now. But I think that there are some agents out there who have gotten into a little bit of a rut and having some trouble getting out of that, getting going. What is your advice? Michelle, we'll start with you on this one. What is your advice for those agents who are struggling a little bit right
now? Understanding the situation and what they're in, and not blaming themselves for feeling the way they do, because habits are really important in this business especially, but in life. And it takes 66 days to form new habits. And we've all been in our homes, for 66 days now. I mean, so we've formed these habits that are going to be hard to get out of. So it's just focusing on reforming and having a schedule, and just waking up every morning with gratitude and with a good mindset. And that's really important, because there's been a lot of depression over the last few months, and uncertainty and all this. So it's important to not blame yourself, to understand that we're all in this together. We're all going through this, and just loving each other, helping each other, supporting each other. And if you feel down, reach out and do something for somebody else. And that actually will help you feel better. And it comes around. So just focus on forming new habits.
Fantastic tips there. Justin, what are your thoughts for the agents who are struggling right now?
Just to come after Michelle here. I mean, she's bang on with what you got to do. And I think you just got to take action. That's the one commodity and the one economy that we control, is what we do each and every day. And it's very important that we have a routine, and a positive routine, and make sure that you actually, fulfill your time with stuff that's, it's going to turn into business down the road. In this business, we all know that we reap the rewards of our actions today, 60 to 90 days down the road. So it's important to plant all those seeds so we can harvest them, and just double down on your activity. Prospect, hold open houses, reach out to everybody in your database, and go help someone. That's the number one thing you can do if you're feeling down in the ruts, is helping someone else. It will make you feel a lot better, because, are you going to make a difference in someone's life?
Love that advice. That's fantastic. And today's session, we know that mostly it's REMAX agents who are watching, but we have seen that there's agents from all over the industry that have tuned into these episodes. My question is, first off, why have you stuck with the REMAX brand over the years? And what has the REMAX brand done to impact your business? Justin, let's start with you on that one.
That's a great question, because it's, myself, I started with a large independent brokerage when I got into this business, and I was with them for about 9 years. And some of the stuff that we had to do when we were with that brokerage, whenever we were sitting down meeting with clients, is we had to sell the brokerage before we could sell ourselves. We moved over to REMAX here about 6 years ago. And everybody that's with REMAX, first and foremost, congratulations. You guys are all with a $1 billion brand. And, it's a lot about branding, because a brand that is as big as REMAX transfers trust, right? Let me say that again. It transfers trust to you. And we noticed a big difference right away, because we then eliminated that conversation that we would have at the kitchen table when we were doing a CMA. We no longer had to sell the brokerage. REMAX is a well-known brand, and here in Calgary, 46% of home sellers chose a REMAX agent last year. So for us, it has really just helped elevate our brand. And again, it's just aligning ourselves with one of the biggest brands in the real estate market.
And Michelle, for you, why have you stuck with REMAX? What has the REMAX brand done?
I wanted to mention what Justin said about, the things that you do in taking action and planting seeds, and then you reap the rewards, or it's like a farmer. Like, you can't expect your first year, just don't have expectations that will, destroy your mindset later on. Just go at it, love it, plant the seeds, and don't expect overnight returns and overnight results. It's about consistency in this business, and your success isn't somebody else's success. So what does success look like for you? And you just really got to put the consistency in with your action steps. Those are the habits. So, but going on to REMAX. So REMAX, I've been with REMAX almost as long as Justin. I think it's been 5 years, and I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. My first year, I remember even for duty, I think I got 8 or 9, it's 8 for sure, transactions due just from people. I've never had this before in 18 years of real estate. I had people call and go, I need to list my house. They didn't care who I was just with REMAX. They would walk in and go, I need to list my house, or I'm looking to buy and sell. So I had 8 transactions that first year just based on that alone. I was like, okay, there's results in REMAX. Yes, the #1 sales brokerage in the world, and in Canada, and in our province, and in my city, and but it really proved it, definitely in every year since. It is that support, it's that brand. People just know that balloon, and REMAX is real estate. REMAX is real estate maximized. So it's been transforming. My business doubled after I went into REMAX, and I haven't looked back. It's been that way every year since. It's been amazing. People trust REMAX, so they end up trusting me before they even know me. So it's pretty eye-widening. Yeah.
100%. I want to transfer over to the digital side of things. And both of you are big advocates of video, and you implement video in your communication, in your marketing. How do you utilize video, and what have you seen as the impact of using video in your business? Michelle, let's start with you on that one.
Well, it's interesting because I'm an actress, and you think I would like to do video, but I do not like to do my own video. I'm like everyone else. Please give me a script, somebody else, cinematographer. I don't want to do anything. I just want to act. But in real estate, it's not acting. It's you. It's your person. It's who you are. And it's funny because I like a cocoon. I'm an introvert, and I can't act like myself. I want to act. I want a character, right? So when I got into real estate, they're all, oh, it must be so easy for you to do listing appointments. You just act it out. And I'm like, no, it's harder because I have to be me. Who am I type of thing, like Jackie Chan. Anyways, so video, it's been very, very hard to do. But I just had to stick to it. And I haven't done a lot, but I've been trying. Again, it's the habits. I'm trying to form my habits, because I've actually realized people love it. I mean, I know everyone says video is the thing, and everyone loves video, but I just got so much reaction. But the biggest thing I think is that people get to know my personality, and they get to know me. And so I've gotten so many more leads, like calls and emails saying, I like to list my property and this and that. And I think it's just because I go and see them, and they act like they already know me. So it's a personality, and it's them feeling comfortable with you. And if they see you and they hear you, they feel like they already know you before they meet you.
Awesome. And Justin, I see that you have another panelist that's joined you there on your lap. But same question goes to you. Adorable. Same question goes to you about video. How are you utilizing video? Why is it important?
I think video is a big thing that we should all pay attention to nowadays, especially in the real estate industry. Obviously with the COVID-19 time that we went through, it forced us all to get onto video. obviously it has a huge impact on connecting with the consumer. The brain doesn't know the difference between meeting you in person and seeing you on video. So if you can be on video in front of them, the more you are on video, and again, like Michelle says, it transfers trust and it makes them feel like they know you. So we're using video now in pretty much every aspect of the business when it comes to creating that client experience, from the minute they sign up onto our website or inquire on a property or set a listing appointment, after appointments. We've even sold properties using video here during the COVID-19 pandemic, from start to finish, where the clients didn't even step foot in the house, didn't meet the agent. They met the agent when he handed them the keys on possession date. Wow. So video is extremely powerful. And, like Michelle, I'm also an introvert. If I had it my way, I'd be sitting in the basement on my computer and nobody would know who I was. But it's, kind of part of what we got to do nowadays. And for myself, I need to humanize the brand that we have in the marketplace because of our marketing, and video is a great way to get that out there. And as uncomfortable as it is, the more we do it, just like anything else, the better we get at it and the more comfortable we get.
I want to talk a little bit about goal setting, because this has been an interesting year for setting goals, right? Like anyone who is setting certain goals in January probably weren't anticipating the next months that we're going to follow. What is your goal setting process, and how do you keep yourself accountable to achieving those goals? Justin, let's start with you on that one.
I thought we were setting goals for 2021. 2020, you know what? Essentially, we do things a little bit differently on our team. We basically get every agent to, share what their goals are for the year. And then we simply just add that up. And that's the goal that the entire team has. And, we do quarterly check-ins with them where they got to, we call it going to the board, where they basically write where they're at, where they want to be, and see if there's anything we can help them with or support them with to achieve their goals. That's how we do it on our team. And obviously we have some internal goals within the leadership side of things, how many agents we want to grow by, what we want to tackle for marketing and that kind of stuff.
Good stuff. And Michelle, for you, how do you go about goal setting?
Well, as an individual agent, I have a full-time assistant and then a part-time that comes in once a week. And I really, accountability is so important. And I don't really have too many people making me accountable, but I tend to, thank goodness, have my own self. I just have to be accountable. I'm my own accountability, I guess, but it's because I have things pretty structured and I've got systems and I just rely on it. Every morning I wake up, I have my devotion time, prayer, I journal. That's when I really look at my goals. And it just, every day when you're thankful for what you have, and your just thoughts are, where you want to go, and all that, if you envision it, and then you take your actions towards it. It's what you think about is what you'll end up going. It's like when you ride a horse and they say, don't look at the jump. You got to look past it. You got to look where you're going, not directly where you're at. So I kind of just always try to live every day that way. And I always have in my mind's always going the next thing. So that, I guess that's accountability in itself, but it is important to have that because it's easy to fall back or get tired or, exercise. So in my calendar, I've got that, and then I've got exercise, and that's when I listen to my podcasts. And then I get ready for the day. I check my emails, and I've got it pretty structured. Then I leverage my listings, and then on Mondays I call all my sellers. On Fridays I call all my buyers. I just have a real consistency with putting things in my calendar and looking at my calendars every day and doing the daily tasks and following up. That's huge. And as long as it's really ABCs in real estate, and as long as you do the ABCs, which a lot of people don't like doing because they're the mundane things, it's like, oh, it's just like the same thing on my calendar every day. But that same thing in your calendar every day is actually every day unique and different because it's a different person you're talking to or with. It's a different property. No property, no two are the same. Like real estate is so amazing because you can go as anywhere you want, as high as you want. You can make as much money as you want. You can do whatever you want. There's so many aspects in real estate. It's so fun. It can never be boring. But it's those little tasks every day that the consistency that people don't like doing, and therefore they get frustrated and they get lost, and they leads fall through their fingertips and they don't follow up. And so it's I hope that answers your question.
100% it does. And actually, speaking of keeping in contact with buyers and sellers, a question that came in the comment section from Manj on Facebook, who said, what is the best way to organize all the day-to-day buyers, sellers, and properties one comes across so that they're not left behind and forgotten because you receive a new contact, and adjust priorities? So you may feel one is better than the other, but they both might be of value. So basically, it looks like prioritizing your actions, your schedule. Michelle, let's start with you on that question.
I do have a system, just a way I do things. So when a lead comes in, I go A, B, C, kind of hot, warm, or cold. So cold doesn't mean I delete them and get rid of them and don't communicate at all with them. But it does mean that they're on my e-newsletter, and I follow up once a year at least with a phone call, or maybe every 6 months. And that's put in my calendar. So as leads come in, there's the interview questions, if you want to call it. It's qualifying them as a buyer, seller, or both. What are their needs? What are they looking for? Making sure they have their pre-approval if they're a buyer, if they're a seller. What time frame are they looking at selling in? 3 months, 6 months, a year? And then that's how I prioritize. And then I always follow up with an email with either a seller's guide or a buyer's guide, and then a little intro about me, and either a seller's intro or buyer's intro. So they love that. They love getting, they've got a resume, and they're helping me out with this guide. They just soak it in. And then you've given them something of value. And then, I keep them on every single one of the contacts that get a hold of me. I put them in Paragon, like the MLS system that we have, as a contact, and I put them in there as a B, or C contact, and then I'll put them either on a market watch for their neighborhood. I just throw a lasso around their house and I send them all actives and solds and expireds around their property. And I say, you'll get this for a year, and then I'll follow up, if I don't hear, and see if you want me to continue it, or, offer them, an evaluation complimentary for now, and then, keep them updated once a month with the stats. And just kind of, those are automatic systems. I just set it up once, and then if they are, I'm not going to sell till next year. A lot of times they contact me and they want to sell sooner. But as long as you're giving them information, they always remember you, and you're the one helping them. So it's like keeping you top of mind in their minds, and touching them on like 7 different ways. E-newsletter, a market update, or if they're a buyer, obviously a buyer search. And then I just punched in the calendar, okay, in 3 months, call Sue, and that's how I systemize it.
Awesome. And Justin, for you, how do you prioritize tasks?
Well, I think first and foremost, you got to prioritize the active clients that you're currently working with. And, at the end of the day, you need to have a system and a process that you follow with each and every client, and prioritize them accordingly to, if you're actively working with them, or, again, where they are at in the buying or selling process, so you can ensure that you have a proper follow-up procedures. Highly recommend you use a CRM. The best CRM is the CRM that you use, and you actually use it. By all means, a CRM doesn't do the lifting for you. It still requires you to take action. So it's just, like Michelle was talking about, it's, the boring, mundane stuff that you got to do consistently, serving your clients. And when a new client comes in, you just got to make that decision right there and then on, where do they fall in that bucket? Are they a priority, or are they, 3 months down the road? And you got to consistently follow up with them and nurture them. Send them videos. The one thing that will make a big impact, because 77% of people in the buying process will work with the first person they form a relationship with. And what better way to do that by applying video early on in the stages?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. And when you Google either of you, one of the first things you notice is the impressive reviews. I mean, a very high review average and a lot of reviews. So I want to talk about online reputation. How do you manage your own online reputation, and why is that an important aspect of the business, Justin?
95% of buyers start their search online. The consumer also going to Google your reviews to see what kind of reputation you have. When you go to a restaurant, you're Googling what kind of reviews that restaurant has based on other people's experience. We need to do the same thing for our business. And we ask every single client that we work with if they have a Google account for a 5-star Google review. And I think we're sitting at now well over 800 reviews. I don't believe in putting reviews on other platforms. You have some portals that are offering to have reviews on them. Then they control your reviews. Obviously, Google is not going anywhere. You set up a My Google business page and you ensure that you have the reviews on there. And the benefits that we have as a team, and we have so many reviews, we actually have clients that read all the reviews and they will select the agent that they connected with on the reviews. So just based on that alone, we're getting clients. And it's a big part of the business, and it's like getting a testimonial, but it's on Google and you can't really fake those.
And Michelle, how do you manage online reputation?
Well, it's pretty amazing. People do rely on online Google reviews, especially the millennials, I found. I get like a few calls a week based on, and I always ask people, how did you hear about me? And so many are, I Googled you, and you're the top agent in this, or you had all these reviews. So, and actually REMAX has a partnership with, I think it's Rank My Agent or Rate My Agent.
Rank.
Correct?
Yeah,
which one? But it connects to your REMAX. Right, thank you. So it connects to your REMAX account, which is really great, because if you don't open that up and connect it to your account, another REMAX agent maybe, and you could have those reviews showing up on your profile on remax.ca. So I would suggest doing that. I think I've got 40 reviews now on Google, and at subject removal, when everyone is so happy and drinking champagne and congratulations and it's all exciting, that's when I ask my clients if you can please take the time, a few minutes. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your business, and online reviews are the lifeblood of our business now, just as much as referrals, even more so almost. It's really important. So anyways, I ask them to do it at that time. I send them an email, and I actually have 4 different links. So in case they don't have a Google account, I have a Rank My Agent, Rate My Agent, a Yelp, and a Facebook. So any way they can or will. So some of my clients have done it on multiple platforms. Some have only done it on Google or Facebook. But boy, it really, really helps hugely. And like I've gotten one bad review, and he couldn't get into a development of mine, and it wasn't. I had a sign on the door but asked the developer to take the hours off the website anyways. It didn't happen. And unfortunately the guy went, drove 45 minutes to this development, which was closed now. And he got really, really mad that we didn't put it on the website, but they were closed. And so he gave me a really bad review. So I responded and said, I am so sorry you drove out and you spent gas and time, and my apologies. And I offered him a gas card. I said, whatever I can do to make it better, I would like to. So I just responded in a nice professional way. So it's there, that's okay. And then I just had a client give me a good review, like what she said was awesome, but she hit 1 star. And because I don't think she knows how it worked, or she didn't know she hit the 1 star. So I actually... Yeah, so I'm going to go to her house tonight, actually, and I'm bringing her a bottle of wine because she just bought or moved in about 2 months ago, and we're going to chat, and I'm going to show her how to fix it. And I had to do that once before. An older gentleman, he didn't know how it worked either. It was a great review, but he hit 1 star. So I had to do the same thing. But it's funny, but it's, you don't have to have, 5 out of 5 stars all the time, but it's kind of nice if you could, make sure you're just responding. Oh, and respond to the good ones. Like, definitely always say, thank you so much for your, review. I appreciate you taking the time, and man, it was great working with you. Whatever you can do to be thankful and reply to those good reviews, it goes a long way as well.
That's such a clever way of handling it. And I've seen that before too, the reviews that are like, this agent is amazing, I would recommend them to anyone. And then it's 1 star and it's like, oh, they must not know how the system works, I guess. I want to stay on this digital idea and talk a little bit about social media, because I think that most people understand the fact that it's an important piece of business these days with regard to marketing and having that presence there. So how do you utilize social media, and what tips do you have to make sure that social media doesn't become a time waster and rather something that is a tool to help your business? Michelle, let's go to you on this one.
It is a huge tool to help your business, and it is so important, and you will be sucked into it, and rightfully so. I mean, you got to comment, you've got to like, you've got to heart, you've got to be active in social media. You can't be passive. You can't just post and never communicate. You got to message people and follow up with people. It's like everything. And so I've had to hire a lot of it out. I ask her, I send her what to do, but she can post it. Now that's just been in the last couple of months, but I managed everything before. But I systemize it again. In the morning, I go through it, and I spend about, I would say 45 minutes or so. And then in the evening, I spend maybe 20 minutes responding and doing all that. And it's important. I've gotten lots of leads from it, and it's a way of staying in good personal communication with your clients. It's amazing. So I always search for my clients and follow them, like them, friend them, and always try to kind of be active. And it's a great way to stay in touch and stay top of mind, but also in a personal way. And I've gotten referrals through that and everything. Yeah.
Good stuff. And Justin, how are you using social media?
I mean, we use social media on a daily basis. You kind of have to these days. We use it on many fronts. One, to promote listings. We promote local community events. We promote, community features. And we also promote the agents, give them credit for a job well done. We share Google 5-star reviews. And, as Michelle says, you got to be active on there. And I mean, it's just your time, your effort. It's relatively free, and you can do a lot of great things on social media. And, we all have it in our hands, and it has a video camera. Again, record video, Facebook Lives, all that stuff. It's free, right? So it is something that we encourage everyone on the team members to use. And it's where a lot of people are spending a lot of their time, maybe not necessarily productive time, but if we can engage with them. As a matter of fact, we're probably putting a property under contract for well over $1 million here today. And that was a buyer that just saw my social media post.
Wow.
So it does work, but you can't expect to get results immediately. And that's one of the things that you got to do in this business, and any business, is you got to be consistent over long periods of time. Right? Success doesn't happen overnight. And that comes to whatever platform you focus your attention on.
One of the things I love about both of you is the fact that you're really big on mindset. And I'm wondering, tangibly, how do you do that? How do you maintain a positive, a sharp mindset? What is it? Is it a daily routine? What exactly is your strategy for doing that, Justin?
Well, I mean, what you focus on grows, right? So if you focus on negativity, that tends to take over, and each and every day you have a choice. You can focus on the positive, or you can focus on the negative, right? We all are humans. We all have challenges, and it all depends on our mindset and how we approach it. If we approach a challenge as a challenge and a lesson, what is this here to teach me about me? How is this here to evolve me and my business? and, you know, moving into space of gratitude. I mean, we have so many things to be grateful here in Canada. And, you know, just having that daily routine of nurturing yourself. So what's some of the things you can do on that is working out, taking care of your, you know, your physical health, because that will also fuel the brain. I've done many things when it comes to experimenting with stuff to kind of make my mind a little sharper, but it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's making sure that you give yourself the right nutrition, drink lots of water, physical activity, and perhaps some reading as well. Journaling is not bad if you're in a deep, dark rut. Obviously, reach out to people, talk to people, but writing stuff down too. It also unpacks whatever you have going on in your mind onto paper. And there's something about that exercise that would actually create more space for positive thoughts in your head, essentially. So just making sure that you just have that awareness of your mindset at all times and choose to be in a positive mindset. Because at the end of the day, if we all slip into that negative spiral, it becomes a dark spiral, and sometimes it can be tough to get out of. But have no other choice but to be positive.
And Michelle, for you, how do you stay positive?
Nobody is in charge of my life but me. Like, I'm the one responsible for how I feel, nobody else. It's up to me to make my life. We live one life, it's a short life. Why not make the choice to make it a good life? No matter what happens, it is so hard to get through things, but trying to stay positive. Like Justin said, journaling helps, having a great attitude, having gratitude, and knowing that, you know, everybody says, oh, it could always be worse. And I know in some of your worst times in your life, you don't feel that. You go, but this is horrible. I don't care about what other people are going through. And it can be really, really hard. But what we put in our minds, what we put in our bodies, what we put in is what's going to come out. So putting in good, positive things, you know, reading and listening to podcasts, and just your mind will be set on whatever you choose to pay attention to and focus on. So focus on what's positive. Focus on, hey, this is my goal. That's my goal. How do I get to the goal? Your mind will tell you how to get, because you'll be searching for the answers, and then you just do the action steps, and that helps your mindset. The fact that you're taking action and you're taking responsibility for your life and how you feel. Happiness is a choice. You know, living your best life is your choice. I tried to struggle doing acting and real estate, and thinking I had 200% to put into both things, but I'm like, I only have 100%. We all only have 100%. So what you focus on is what, you know, you're going to see the returns. So when I focused on real estate, like pretty much 100%, I'm like, focus, you know, life is good. When you go for what you want, it helps your mindset as well. So yeah, just keeping focused on that glass overfilling or half full rather than half empty. And it's a daily, you got to daily just, you know, wake up with that gratitude, and it helps. But if you're not naturally that type of person, it's a habit, but you can form it. You know, it is possible. Yeah.
And if I can add to that too, you know, be aware of what you consume. What are you spending your time on, searching on social media, reading, watching TV, and even, you know, I'll share this. One of the things that I learned a few years ago, one glass of alcohol will have a negative impact on your brain for 3 days. One glass. So it's quite fascinating once you really kind of dive into some of the stuff, to look at stuff that you can do to make your mind better and what impact stuff has on it. So
yeah, exactly. There's a really good message there. One of the things that's hard to maybe imagine right now, considering kind of the situation we're in, is conferences and events, right? Do you have any kind of strategies or tips for attending a conference? Michelle, we'll start with you. Sorry.
Oh, okay. My Wi-Fi went kind of weird there too. So conferences, when I came to REMAX, that was something else. I shifted my business practices, and I'm like, I've never focused on networking. I've never focused on, you know, conferences. So I never went to any. So I finally went like, REMAX offers a lot. I'm going to start going to every conference I possibly can and just connecting. Actually, that's my word for this year. Is connecting. But anyways, so conferences have been amazing. My referral business, it was zero before, and now it's literally like on fire, like referrals constantly out, coming in, going out. And I've met so many amazing realtors, and the connections have been so outstanding. And the way I do it is in conferences, you're like, oh, there's 1,000 people, or like R4 where there's 6,000 people. You don't have to concentrate on the 6,000 or the 500. It's just really connecting with 5 to 10 realtors while you're at the conference that you really, you sit down next to and you have that conversation, oh, who are you? Oh, what got you into real estate? Ask questions and find out their personality and see if you like them. And maybe they're going to be a really good referral partner. And if you connect, great, So I try to focus not on the overwhelming amount, but saying all I need is 5 to 10 really good connections. And then instantly I friend them on Facebook and on Instagram, which are my 2 major social media platforms, even though I'm on all of them. And I follow up with a message saying, hey, it was great meeting you or having lunch with you today. And then after a conference, again, real estate is all about following up. And relationships are about following up. You can't have a relationship with somebody you never talk to and you never, again, follow up with. So I follow up with a really cool, well, it's just this thing about, how great it was to meet them, and then my real estate market and what's happening. And then I mail it to them. And then I follow up with an letter as well. A video being added to that is great. And then I just make sure I connect with them once in a while on social media, and I keep them in my referral partner, and then every so many months I can send them something. It's been really great. I've had a couple realtors. There's a realtor, oh, she's awesome, in Vancouver. Anyway, she sends me these scratch and wins every holiday, a little scratch and win, and she connects that way. And obviously I send personalized calendars to the realtors I connect with at conferences. And it's great because it's across Canada, it's across the US, it's international. And it's just so amazing to have connections that everywhere. So when a client is moving somewhere, I'm like, oh, where are you thinking of moving, or whatever, or their sister or brother, and I ask and I go, do you have a realtor there? Instantly I'm like, oh, I got a great partner there. So I really just focused, and it's been so much fun, and it's brought just knowledge to me too, knowledge of the different areas, and it's been great.
Very smart. And Justin, what about you? Attending conferences, what's the value and what are your strategies?
As Michelle was saying there too, it's really important to build on those relationships and create those referral partners. And, a lot of times I find more value out of the relationships that you build because of attending these conferences and perhaps having lobby cons versus going and attending some of the sessions. Myself, I have built some incredible relationships over the years with some incredible minds in our industry, like Gary Ashton, who's, the #1 REMAX team in the world. I met him at a conference back in 2012, and, Rob Dukansky, Chris Lindahl, like a lot of really big hitters in the real estate game. And, I just soak it up. I'm a little, sponge or fly on the wall, just listening, collaborating. And that's kind of the thing that I get most out of attending these conferences is the relationship and the collaboration. It's a lot easier to collaborate openly with agents in other markets because they're not your competitors. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge in your own market to share openly because, they're going to try to do exactly what you're doing. And then how's that going to give you the so-called competitive advantage? Because in reality, everyone in our marketplace, there are friends and colleagues, but they're also our competitors, right? So that's one of the things that I've gotten the most out of over the years is just collaboration on just a whole other level in sharing systems, processes, marketing techniques, and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to go there, build relationships, and that takes effort, and that pays huge dividends, as Michelle just said.
Yeah. And one of the things, Michelle, you mentioned in your answer there was related to even gifts or staying in contact that way. One of the questions we often get at sales associate orientation sessions is, what are some good ideas for client gifts or even just client appreciation events or those sorts of things? So what are your thoughts on that? How you show clients your appreciation, maybe after the transaction or on an ongoing basis? What's the strategy? Justin, start with you on that one.
So, I mean, we have a company here in town that basically provide us with closing gifts, so we can modify them. So we obviously do that with every single closing. And then it's just once in a while throwing these events. To be honest, it's not something that we've done for the last couple of years. And that's and it's an area of, and I'm going to be right open here, it's a weakness in our business is our past client retention program. And it's something that we have actually in the last year really started to focus on. And that is touching base with them on a regular basis, having, post-transaction surveys where we reach out to them, ask them about if there's anything we can do to improve, our service, and, connecting with them. Popeyes, people are dropping off, bottles of wine and little gifts around the holidays. But at the end of the day, it's connecting with them and maybe sending them a video and giving them tips on, especially during the COVID-19 here, sharing little tips and tricks of what they can do with their family. Because all of a sudden, everybody's a school teacher at home and trying to work from home. And it's been quite the gong show for a lot of parents. Because, what are they going to do to keep their kids occupied? And, sending them basically the virtual YouTube link so people can do all the rides at Disney from their home, keeping the kids occupied for an hour, just bringing value to them even after the transaction. And, even if they have, they're in need of a handyman, you have all those connections with all the trades and that kind of stuff too. Again, serve them after the sale so they can also have a pleasant experience in servicing the biggest asset that they bought through you.
Yeah, really good points there. And Michelle, for you, client appreciation events or gifts?
Well, the last few years is when I started doing an annual client appreciation event. I never did one before because I was never comfortable organizing a big event. I was very self-conscious about that. But I coordinated with, because Richard's, my husband's a musician, so he has these like writer nights, and there was this event that, it was songwriters getting together on an outside stage in an backyard acreage with crafts fair people that sold things, and then they had drinks, and then food cart. So I thought, you know what, we can collaborate with an event that's already happening, support them, donate to them. I had them on my radio show. I promoted it on the radio show, had my sign up there, and paid for, and then sent out invites to all my clients saying, I'm paying for your family, food, drinks, and come out and be entertained and let's have a good time. So it wasn't just my clients. It was everyone who naturally would go to the event anyways, but also my clients. So that's been pretty successful. I've been very happy with that. I'm not quite sure if it's happening this year because of COVID, but it'll definitely come back next year. And then every year I like doing something different and new. So like one year I did ice cream scoops, and branding is really important, REMAX branding, but your own personal branding as well. So like I put the REMAX in my branding I have something different every year. So an ice cream scoop one year it was, umbrellas, like clear plastic ones with my logo on it. This year it was cutting boards, charcuterie boards, just one new thing every year. And that way when I see a client or I pop by, like Justin said, at least once a year, I have them in my truck or my car, and I can, hey, this gift is for you. And they're so thankful that you have something for them. And on my radio show as well, I'm like, what would you want from your realtor? What like branded gift kind of thing would you want? And so I had this poll, and the most was charcuterie board. That's why that's happening this year. And the second biggest one was cutting board. And then some people said knives, or a set of knives and things like that. So just always changing it up. It's fun. I make a little writing, like a little you can stay out of the rain by selling. No, I forget what I said about my umbrella, but I make a little thing that correlates with the ice cream, like, stay out of the cold with Michelle or something like that. I don't know what it was, but making it kind of fun every time. And then my home gifts, that's been a hard one. I always love doing personalized gifts for like home buyers. And it's so hard to keep that up once you do so many transactions. It's really hard. So I had to systemize how I give gifts at closing. And so I've made some partnerships with people that would put their names on coasters. So I have got a set of coasters with their initials and their names. And then cookies, I partnered with a cookie company. I just pay one time a year, whatever, they have so many, and then they just automatically, I give them the names, their dog Roofy, and their kids' names and their names, and then a REMAX balloon and my logo, and the cookies go in there. And then my dad made this vanilla for me, so in a vanilla extract that I put in there. And so there's a story. And so I have this little written story of what every item means in my little Cummins Real Estate Group mugs. And so it's systemized, but it's still personalized. So that's sort of what I finally came up with. That's been working really good.
So many great ideas there. Love that. And we're getting pretty close to the end of our 60 minutes. So I want to throw at both of you one of the questions we've gotten in the past, one of my favorite questions that was ever asked at a sales associate orientation. And that is, based on everything you've learned in your career up until this point, what is one thing you wish you could go back to day one and tell yourself as you were embarking upon your career at the very beginning? So basically, all the knowledge you've learned over the years, what one piece of advice would you give yourself as you were entering the industry? Michelle, why don't we go to you first on this one?
What you put into it is what you'll get out of it. So if you got a mindset where you want to do 100 transactions a year, well, you got to put the time in to get there, or even 2 transactions a month, right? And realize that it's not overnight. It's going to take time. But that consistency, like if I knew that then, that if I could just focus and put 100% and just give myself a few years of true focus, it would be more automatic sooner, and I'd have, more success sooner, or I wouldn't have struggled as long as I did, if I really focused more and, just didn't have the expectation that, I should do good because it's real estate, and I just, I should do good just because of that. It's like, no, it's the time you put into it is what you'll reap the rewards. Yeah.
Great final tip there. And Justin, for you, what do you wish you could tell yourself on day one starting in the industry?
Wow, if we could go back in time, you know what? Always reinvest back into your business. It's actually an advice that I got early on in my career, and it's something that pays huge dividends. Reinvesting a portion of your commissions back into creating systems, into marketing, and ensuring that you're building a business, not buying shoes or cars or whatever, right, with your commissions. So make sure that you have a business mindset. And, as Michelle says, consistency, how you show up each and every day and what you do for work and working on your business consistently over a long period of time. It's a wonderful career to be in real estate. Sky's the limit. And again, as I said earlier on, the one commodity that you're in 100% control of is your efforts. And what you put in is what you get out. And there's no shortcut. There's no magic pill. Make sure that you build a solid foundation. And that is by mastering your systems, your processes, your presentations, your follow-up. All of those things done consistently will pay huge dividends. And we all have a superpower, and that superpower is focus. So if you can master those things, you're going to have a great career.
Awesome. Well, there's been a ton of value throughout this 60 minutes. I want to sincerely thank both of you so much for joining us for this hour and sharing all of your great tips and advice. And thank you to everyone who tuned into this session as well. We really appreciate it. Other than that, I hope everyone has a fantastic week. Thank you both. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers. See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.